Rob Latham here with my buddy Patrick Sweeney. We've both been shooting a long time. We're both pretty good shots. We are masters of all things trigger. I know you're doing gunsmith work. We date back in competition for a long time, and this discussion commonly comes up about what is a good trigger.
What is a good trigger? It depends on what the job is.
Exactly. And
what you're going to do.
And also the basic definition of the differences. In the old days,
right,
when we began, a good trigger was defined as clean.
Yep.
Now the term clean means it broke very cleanly. And in 1911, and the reason they're so popular with old farts like Patrick and I, is because we like that cleanness, that suddenness of the gun firing.
Right.
It's where the term surprise trigger break comes from.
Yep.
If you look at the gun, if you could get in here close, you can see, well, I pulled too fast. You pull to the wall, it stops there, and then you add pressure, and without much happening, then the gun fires. It's kind of a surprise break, and it's called a clean break.
Now, Robbie, when I was working on my book on 1911s, I had a chance to handle a bunch of unmolested 1911s that were built during the Great War or before. And the surprising thing was they had 7-pound triggers on them. But you take up the slack, and then nothing moved until you got to 7 pounds, and then the hammer fell.
Next thing happened is bang.
Right. And if the purpose of the exercise is to put holes in bad guys between their shirt pockets, a 7-pound trigger that breaks clean is perfect for that.
Right.
But if you want to win an IPSC match where you've got to shoot at warp 9.5, you're going to lose.
Right, that's not going to be the best setup.
Right.
Because that 7-pound trigger, while it might be clean and surprise and ultimately be accurate, you might be able to shoot it accurately, it's going to be difficult to shoot it fast. So there's several factors. The modern new kind of gun we have to deal with are called double action, single actions, and of course striker fire.
Right.
So now somewhere along the line the definition changed. This is our XDE, which is a DASA gun.
Right.
And it has in trigger cocking mode what you would describe as a long trigger. Well, the way to measure how good that trigger is both by its weight and how smooth it is.
Right.
So think about it. It's not about necessarily the cleanness, it's about how smooth it is. So you go to the wall and pull through it has a very clean, it has a very smooth release. In this type of firearm, the definition of a good one is what? It's not clean.
It's smooth.
It's smooth.
There's no grit, there's no jumping, there's no ratcheting along. It just
when it starts moving, it doesn't have any hitches to it, right?
Right.
So now bring in the modern, newest generation of the striker fired guns.
Right.
They're kind of a tweener. It's kind of between the trigger cocking gun, which is all smooth, and the clean trigger of, like, say, a 1911 or single action auto. So there's a little bit of movement that occurs for the take-up. Then you pull the striker back a little further, and boom, the striker falls. So this one kind of falls in between. It has a shorter movement, which is our definition of clean, is the short movement, or even imperceptible movement, and smooth.
One of the things that helped me in learning how to shoot the striker guns quickly is to think of it in terms of being a really short stroke double action revolver. You know, it's not the long stroke, but it's still a stroke there. So you take up the slack and you just stroke right through it. You do that, you can shoot it fast. If you treat it like it's a single action gun where you're going to prep the trigger and then break the shot, you're going to screw it up every time.
Yeah, and you're not going to like the results. So somebody that is accustomed to clean breaking triggers hates the guns that have a lot of movement, whether the definition of them is a good trigger, like a smooth long pull. And somebody that's used to like say a gun that has a smooth long trigger pull, but is not necessarily clean in the short movement, is not going to like them.
Yeah. What is a good trigger? It depends on the job that you're trying to do with that pistol. It depends on the design of the mechanism you're working with. And it depends on just how quickly you want to be shooting. And if you use the wrong approach to the wrong trigger for the wrong job, doesn't matter which pistol it is, you're not going to be happy with the results.
I agree 100%.